Hello fish tankers. Today we're going to do a video about a family of bottom dwelling little fish, nice chunky little fish with lots of personality, peaceful members of any aquarium community and not difficult to keep at all. I'm talking of course about Corydoras. It's a large family of fish that come in a bewildering range of species and patterns and colors. If that sounds interesting, stick around and see more. Now the first thing we've got to understand about these little fish is they like being in shoals. They need to be in groups. They are much happier. A single one is never happy. And I would say the minimum number is 6. More is always better because they like to have that safety in numbers feeling. So that then leads us to the next question, and that will be of course tank size. Now they need a little bit more space than you would think at first. You've got the biggest ones that's 8 to 9 centimeters, like the giant Brockus, which is actually still not very big. And then your smallest one that's about 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters, and that's the pygmy Corydoras. Now with these pygmy Corydoras, you might get away with a 5-gallon tank, but I would say keep the Corydoras in at least a 10-gallon tank, 1.5 foot. I would say 15 gallons or 2 foot is much better. And always for more space for better, but they are bottom dwellers. They tend to swim horizontally on the bottom of the aquarium, so the footprint is much more important than the volume. So rather a long shallow tank than a tall column. Here we see a long fin version of the bronze Corydoras, and there's an albino version as well. There you see some albino bronze Cories, and this was one of my first fish that I ever had. This is a peppered Corydoras. And they also have an albino version, not these that you see here. They are albino bronze Cories. You can see with a red eye, but pretty soon you'll see another albino Cory that's not a bronze Cory. Wait for it, you'll be there now. Fish don't always play to the camera. Very easy. You can see with that sharp dorsal fin, and the body shape is not the same as the others, and that is an albino version of the peppered Corydoras. I found 2 albino versions in the general sort of trade that we have here in South Africa. Now the next thing we've covered tank size is the substrate. They are bottom dwellers, as I've said, and they have these small barbels on their mouths. Now they like to dig around in the substrate to find food, like that bronze Cory is doing. Now if you have very sharp substrate, very edgy, then they tend to wear those barbels down, and fin rot, or similar to fin rot, sets in and they lose their barbels, which is not a good thing. So you can have some rocky outcrops and some pebbles here and there in your tank, but it must have sandy patches. They like being on sand. There's some debate about it. Some Corydoras are more affected than others, but I think just rest easy at night and give them a sandy bottom, and then you won't have that worry. Then as far as water parameters go, they come from soft acidic environments, but they are tolerant of your normal tropical range. So pH from about 6 in the 7s they will mostly tolerate as well. 7.5 is fine. I think once you start reaching 8 it becomes too high. So they're not hard water fish, but the normal aquarium parameters they'll do well in. And one other thing to remember, they don't like salt. So keep that in mind if you have to treat the aquarium for any sorts of disease. Then the temperatures, they range. If you see the one there behind with a grey body and the 2 black spots, that's a panda Cory. They can go in cooler water, not cold water, cooler water, around about 20 degrees Celsius, because they come higher up in tributaries from faster moving waters. But most of the Corydoras, like your normal tropical range, from 24 degrees Celsius up to about 27 degrees Celsius. If you know what Corydora that is on the left of the screen, the brownish one, let me know in the comment section. But on the right there we've got what I think is still my favorite Corydora, and that is Corydoras stirbai, and they like warmer temperatures. They can go with discus, a popular choice of discus. They can take that 29 degrees, 30 degrees Celsius water. And it goes without saying that they need good water quality. zero ammonia, zero nitrite, and I always say keep the nitrates below 25. There's a gold laser Cory, we don't see them too often. And the other thing that you must remember is food. Often they don't compete well for food, and the food never reaches the bottom. The other fish eat the food before they can get to it, like these neon tetras might do. So drop in some sinking tablets, drop in some pelleted food, and make sure they get enough to eat. Well, that's it, people. Please, as we look at these panda Cories, give a video a thumbs up, leave a like, I would greatly appreciate it, and subscribe. And until we see each other again, take good care of those domestic denizens of the deep.